Hello, and welcome to my Pecha Kucha presentation for Design Tools 1. I'm Mike, and I'm going to be walking you through the process of writing and recording a punk rock demo. Why a punk rock demo? Well, because I love punk rock, and because the minimalist aesthetic makes it perfect for a 6-minute and 40-second presentation. So what are my qualifications for tutoring one in the field of a punk rock recording? That's me there on the right, with the foot-tall mohawk. Please note, I'm smoking a cigarette, not flashing a peace sign, because while I was never really straight edge, I also was never a hippie. I was in a number of small punk bands from 1998 through 2009, and I've recorded close to 100 songs. Now, before we can start the writing process, we must first ask, what is punk rock, and what type of punk rock are recording? Many a punk has wasted endless hours in the Socratic practice definition. They've argued loudly with one another as to what is and is not true punk. This has not made any easier by the fact that there's like a near infinite amount of subgenres within the punk landscape. Some people think it's all about style, whether this be a certain style of music or a certain fashion. To some, anything with more than 3 chords is not real punk, while to others, a band that doesn't dress punk cannot be a punk band. Others might argue that, Minor Threat is more punk rock than the Bad Brains because the Bad Brains incorporated some reggae chords and actually had a few reggae songs in their albums. I've personally never really cared for the genre distinctions. I enjoy all types of punk, from hardcore to psychobilly. I believe that the best punk is about the do-it-yourself recording philosophy and a screw-you aesthetic. The earliest punk bands, such as the Ramones and the Sex Pistols, didn't really do the do-it-yourself thing, but they definitely had the screw-you attitude down. The one thing just about everybody can agree on is what is not punk. We can argue about whether or not Sonic Youth is a punk band, but even style purists, bands that might fit their sonic definition of punk, like Green Day and Fall Out Boy, cease to be punk the minute they go for platinum album sales. And Hot Topic might carry punk clothes, but wearing something from Hot Topic voids all punk credibility. Now, with that out of the way, what sort of punk song should you write? Part of this depends on personal taste, part on access to the musical instruments. If you play trumpet, hardcore punk's really not going to be up your alley, but ska and rhythm and blues are perfect. If you like a little metal with your punk, thrash should be the perfect thing. And if you like oldies, go with rockabilly or psychobilly. Once you've decided on the sound, it's time to start the songwriting process. Most songs contain lyrics of some sort, but some bands have been known to do an all-instrumental track or two. Some like to write the lyrics first and then the music. Some like to write the music first and then do the lyrics right before recording. I've always been comfortable with both. If you decide to write the lyrics first, then choose what sort of theme best fits you and your genre. A pop-punk song might deal with everyday life and boy meets girl, that sort of thing. Horror punk or psychobilly will use lyrics from a 1950s B-movie. Hardcore punk tends more to political themes and nihilist philosophy. Art punk tends to be poetic or stream of consciousness. The music depends on your chosen subgenre. Hardcore tends to be 3 chords played as fast as possible and over in about a minute. Horror and rock and psychobilly tend to utilize 1950s inspired chord structures. Horror punk usually tends to be more power chordy, and the billy styles emphasize riffing. Ska has a strong emphasis in the backbeat and sometimes a horn section. The best ska band, Op Ivy, though, didn't have a horn section at all. Once you figure out where everything goes, it's time to start practicing. Do-it-yourself recording is all about being done in one take. Anything more than one take, and that's a month's worth of ramen noodles your band could be eating on the bus. The amount of rehearsal takes depends on whether or not you're playing solo or with the band. If you're playing with the band, I'd add an extra 4 hours of recording for every person in the band, and that about a week or so, just because coordinating everybody's schedules and everything, it's going to take a while. Next question is where to record. Recording studios cost a lot of money. Even if you have a music engineer in the band, so that's one person less you have to pay, you still have to pay for the time in the studio. And the time in the studio, that can go on the link level of hundreds of dollars to even hours, thousands per hour. What you need for a do-it-yourself demo is some form of recording gear and access to a pretty quiet space, where you and your band, you're not going to be interrupted by your parents or kids or neighbors calling the cops. If you happen to live in a home with a garage and no old neighbors nearby, there's a reason there's a stereotype garage band. Otherwise, any practice space that you might use or space that you can rent cheaply for an hour will do. According to Come As You Are, the Nirvana story, Nirvana recorded their first demo in a church. I've known of bands that rented storage units in industrial neighborhoods, and that worked out perfectly. You know, they did it late at night when there was less traffic around, so like no trucks running by and making noise. Now let's talk recording equipment. Anything that gets sound down on as data will do, like even a tape recorder, little 4-track recording mixer, or a laptop with recording software. Some like super enthusiasts, hardcore do-it-yourself people say that like laptops are evil. I think that they do from recording what guns did for warfare. It just levels the playing field. But the first thing you want to do is like get your levels right. Now with the tape recorder, it's just a matter of like moving the tape recorder around the room. Otherwise, you want to try and make sure, like, look at your instruments, and you don't want anything going up into the red when you're recording. Otherwise, you'll just get like even more distortion than you're looking for. If you go with the tape player, you're pretty much done at this point. Otherwise, you might need to record the different instruments a track at a time. You don't want your guitar line getting on your bass line, or maybe you do. If you don't have a band, but you're talented enough to play different instruments, you have to record a track at a time for obvious reasons. Now it's time to mix everything together. Some people, there's a lot of theory behind it, so they get like really super technical with it. It's punk rock. Just go with what sounds best to you. I like to, just basically put my, bass line and the drums and the vocals in the center track, then pan everything either to the right or the left. There you go. One song close enough for punk rock. What do you do with it now? Use it to get shows, upload it to the internet, bug your friends with it, save it for 20 years and embarrass the hell out of your kids. It doesn't matter. Again, I'm Mike, and I hope you've enjoyed this punk primer.